sometimes we like to take the easy way, or we like to shortcut things, but it's just like taking the same route, except you got tunnel vision. So it may seem as though it's shorter, but it's just like when you take a shortcut, you're going through a lot more than you would just staying on a straight path. But just because we can see it, we think it's easier. When the other route isn't hard. It's not harder. It's just we like to get things done fast, and we like to think it's a lot faster, you know. But just because we can't see it doesn't mean we won't get there any more faster than we would taking a shorter route. So yeah, a little word. I feel like some situations make us jump into survival mode, where we may grab more than we need. But then being taught growing up, we was taught. I mean, growing up we was taught um, more. Having more doesn't matter because you can never have enough. So if you grab more than what you need, then you wouldn't have to worry about ever running out. So it's just like we have to be equipped. We always feel like we always have to be equipped. And this is why we can never just let our guard down. And sometimes it actually gets confusing, honestly, because if you focus too much on what you need, then you can never actually appreciate what you have already. You know, just as life unravels and time unravels, eventually, if you go without for a while or long enough, you'll start to appreciate what's right in front of you. And later on, you'll think, oh, well, I didn't even need that, you know? Or what I wanted, I'm a scratch want, but what I needed was already here. And eventually that needing becomes more of wanting. You know, your need turns into want because you know what you want is less relevant than what you need. Or what you want is what you need because you have learned to appreciate life and take it as it comes. It's about less, not more. And then you'll figure out what it means to have enough or just know enough. But don't think I know it all. I don't. I'm still learning. Um, Even in this moment, I am still learning because as long as there's always a chance that you can run away from falling short, or if there's that, it's like walking in a room all these, it's like walking in this house full of locked doors. And then you're just like, oh, well, maybe it's not meant for me to be here. You know, maybe it's not meant for me to be where I am. Maybe I should just leave. And that's what gives us comfort in walking away. But let's say in the midst, on your way out, you don't give up. And that's what I feel like that's how we begin to cripple ourselves, or we begin to lose faith. So we walk in and we're headed out, but we still don't give up because there's a door on the way out, and then it opens. That door opens, and what 9 times out of 10, we're going to go inside. And then that's when you lose faith and you lose the message. Or maybe you even lose sight of what that moment actually meant. And is that life is like a basketball game. You're always dodging. You know, you always have to dodge where you started off. You know, you started off here, you started off there, but you can't always go back to where you came from, because you'll find yourself back in that sticky situation. So even how far, you know, it's about how far you'll go. If you go here, you'll be back in that, you know, if you go there, if you go back, you'll risk at where you came. You'll risk everything. And even if you're strong enough, some things in life you just can't shake, and that's the temptations of the flesh. So you know this. Therefore, you have to let certain places go, and let certain places go, because you're no longer on that route anymore. And it's hard, especially when you're on foot. You know, it's not like I got a car and I can just dodge that place. You know, when you're on foot, it's very hard, because you don't want to go so far. And sometimes you don't feel like going so far. Sometimes you're too weak to go the distance. And that's when you have to train your mind to be stronger than your flesh. You have to train your spirit to be stronger than your flesh. Because only then will you get through those temptations and those trials. You know, but being that we are who we are, lean on God when that time comes, because seasons change and it's not always going to be warm out here, and you're limited in resources of driving and vehicles and this, and you got to do everything on foot. You know, lean on God, because only God can get you through then, and that's when you have to just have faith. Your faith has to be really, really strong, because you can only go on for so long until you find yourself fighting like you can through it all. So yeah, I don't know, I might cut out the end part because it kind of messed me up there, but yeah, it's just gotta be strong. on the person you want to be, instead of all these other places like, oh, that place is too far to walk. This route is shorter. I'm gonna take a shortcut and this and that. You have to have tunnel vision on that person you want to be. You know. So yeah. No matter how far it is or how long it takes you, you're going to get there, because not everything is a shortcut, especially when it comes to when the location is yourself. It depends on how bad you want it and what you're willing to do to get there. That is tricky, because what you're willing to do to get there, that's the tricky part. But how bad you want it, you just have to be careful. When you think about what you're willing to do to get there, always keep in mind that to be cautious. Always take yourself into consideration, your life into consideration, because the only way you're going to win is to, in this situation, know the goal. Know the target. Know what you're aiming for. It's like living on a time clock. You know, even if you don't work, then it's always something that keeps you going and racing the clock. Whether it's groceries, you know, eventually you'll have to get those groceries in the refrigerator, so you're racing time, you know. Everything reminds you of time, and that's why I feel like it is very important to just take a break every once in a while. But then even breaks can become dangerous, because you can get distracted, and that distraction could be you. You get comfortable with the situation, so then there's no pressure applied. But we always feel like we gotta have pressure. That pressure matters. I forgot what it's like to just sit out in nature. I actually forgot. I used to do it all the time. It's because I was comfortable. When you're comfortable, you can go out and you can just feel nature, become one with nature. You can feel good, and you don't have to worry about anyone looking at you, because you're out here. You're out here, You don't have to worry about it if you're far enough from their sight. A lot of things we tend to not do because we're worried about the eyes that are on us, staring us down, and we're wondering about what they're thinking about, as they're looking at us. But it's all about distracting yourself. When you feel like life is kind of catching up, when you feel like your past is catching up with you, what do? You distract yourself. You go out and do something about it. And sometimes you sit there, but no matter what, you can't shake what's meant to happen. And that's what I always keep in the back of my mind. That's what guides me. You can't shake what's going to happen. It's going to happen regardless, A lot of people be on the move, and you're thinking, this person is on a run. It's a lot of us running from our past. We're running and we're running. But you have to have a destination, because without a destination, it's just like you're, traveling. You're on the road. You got the map and everything, but you have no location, you have no destination, so you just find yourself traveling the world. What's your end game? You know, if it's just to be happy, maybe you can get away with it. Because when you take yourself out of the world and it just becomes you, then you find yourself in your own world. But a lot of us don't have that privilege because I am a mother. So I allow those, no matter how much I don't want it to, or no matter how much I resist, I allow those desires to become passive. But in the moments that I do have alone, I just appreciate it. But at the same time, my son will always be in my mind no matter what. So it's just, you know, that life I left behind when I decided to have kids. I never even thought about that life until I had kids. And that's what's so unfair. I never even thought about what I can do when I'm single. All of these, you know, it's like not seeing what can happen or what's for you until you let it go, but you never knew it was an option. You never knew it was there. So it's just like every day I'm just watching everybody else and they're exploring their life because they didn't decide to have kids, and it's just like, dang, you know, it kind of becomes depressing, and that's kind of unfortunate when you have kids because you can't think that way, you know. And all I really want is to take my kid, you know, take your kids out with you because you have no other choice but to, you know, keep them in mind. You know, I'm going to get there one day and I'm going to have my kid with me, but, you know, you can't always think about that because if you lost that time, you lost that time. And now you're playing wait. You know, you're just waiting around for life to meet you where you're at. Can you catch up for me? Sure. Can you meet me halfway? Can you wait for me? But the world waits for no one. And I guess the only thing you can really think about is that um, I guess that's where parents keep in mind that if I don't get it, then I know my child will have it, you know. And that's when you set a will in place. You know, I'm definitely, that's what I want. I want a will, you know. Um, but if you don't have a will, then everything is just scattered, you know. And I feel like that's what happened with me and my father. With my father, when he passed, he didn't have a will. So it's just like it was just like a freaking scavenger hunt, you know. And I hope that I have enough time to make that will because this is the life we have. This is the life we set up for ourselves. We have to depend on making a will so that we can have all of our wishes and desires met through our kids so that they can carry on what we didn't have the time to carry on, you know. Kind of sad you got to think about it that way, but that's just the life we live in today. And this life won't stop. This is how it's set up, you know? So I'm going to get my butt home, and I got a lot of cleaning up to do. I got laundry out the butt. I got so much laundry I got to do, but I'm going to take care of myself first because, you know, that's what matters. You are your destination if you're searching for happiness.